Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat, and welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all. I missed y'all last week. Had a really nice vacation, though, I'm not going to lie. Nice trip with my friends and ate some really good food, had good times, but happy to be back with y'all. We're going to be diving into more Knights of the Old Republic KOTOR. Last week, well, not last week, 2 weeks ago, we beat Tatooine. We managed to get... Is it a map? I forget what we're looking for. I think it's a map. I think it's a piece of a map that we found. We found the thing, and we're moving on to another planet. So let's go ahead. Let's dive on into it. How's everyone's weekend, time away? Is there a Father Evan Minecraft server? There is, but it's only for my mods. Hey, Christos Anesti, Ray Hurd. I hope you had a great Cinco de Jesus. I love the Paschal Troparion, Christ is risen from the dead, trembling over death by death, and to those in the tombs bestowing life. I actually used that during the Easter season when we do the penitential rite at daily mass. You know, Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy, Lord have mercy. I'll use the 3 parts of the Paschal Troparion as the tropes for that, which I love doing. I still need to reacquire Minecraft. Yeah, you do. Good to see you, Gail. I hope you're doing well. Oh, hello, Meep. Meep is pointing things out to us on the map. I think Meep wants us to go to Manin. We can go to Korriban, Manin, Kashyyyk, or Yavin, but I think Meep spoke his mind. Meep was like, right here. I suppose since this happens well before the movies, does this mean it's a long time ago? Oh no, more spooky dreams! A few hundred years. So how many... Is every century a long? Is that it? Orb. Wait. If this is an ocean planet, and I'm not a fish... Is there a force spell that makes me fish? Your question, Star Wars, is always, where did humans come from? Did humans come from another world and seed life on Earth?
The force is
Where did they come from? Where did they go? Why are they here, Cotton Eye Joe?
And his old master, leading us ever closer to the Star Forge. It is strange that anyone would have built a star map here. The entire surface of Manaan is covered by nothing but vast oceans.
What a great place to hide it, then. Looked like it was underwater.
The ocean floor is vast, and much of it is uncharted, even by the native Selkath.
What if we were the ancient aliens all along?
Dun dun dun! Things will become more clear once we discover the star map's location.
Okay, everyone, just take a eighth of the world. Just start swimming, and we'll all find it eventually. I'm gonna take this duo with me because I haven't taken them around for a while. proof. They need to level up. Yes, auto level up because I am lazy.
What?
Earth in the far future is Coruscant, which is the human home world. The long ago, in the perspective of even further future, Journal of the Wills.
You Republic people are so pathetic, sitting around groveling at the table scraps the Galactic Senators deign to give you. It makes me sick.
Space
Senators
wizards
work
with
for the
laser
good of the whole
swords.
galaxy, not for individual gain.
Ha! Don't make me laugh, you gutless simp. It's the destiny of weak-minded fools like you to be ruled over by the strong, like we Sith.
I'm warning you. Don't push me or you'll get just what you're asking for.
Try it. Just try it. I'd love to see you throw the first punch. And with all the cameras around, the Selkath would be all over you inside of 30 seconds. You break their laws. You pay the price, Republic scum. But I can see that you're not man enough to back up your words anyway. If you ever feel like relieving yourself of your worthless existence, feel free to come by our enclave here. We have many, many ways to fulfill your wish.
I'm beginning to think the Sith are evil. Bad Gale.
Yeah, what are you... Oh, I apologize, Master Jedi. I should not have been rude.
Not to be evil is confusing and hard to reset if you make the mistake. Okay, well, we're gonna see what happens. That's
No,
all right.
really. I should apologize. I should try to control myself. As you Jedi do. Is there anything I can help you with?
Why do they upset
Well,
you so
these damn
much?
Sith are everywhere on Manan, pushing us Republic citizens around, trying to goad us into breaking the law somewhere.
Breaking
Yeah,
the law.
The Selkath want to maintain their neutrality in this war we're fighting with the Sith, and they enforce it very strictly. So we just have to sit here and let the Sith insult us, and we can't raise a hand against them. Otherwise, the Republic will face severe Kolto export restrictions, and that could lose us the war altogether.
What's Kolto?
You're joking, right?
Nope.
I'm sorry, but everyone knows what
Got
Kolto
amnesia.
is. It's the most powerful healing agent in the galaxy. I would have died several times myself if we didn't have this stuff handy. But the reason it's important here is that Kolto is only found naturally on Manan, and all of our attempts to synthesize it have failed miserably. So, we sit here on the surface, the Selkath harvesting what Kolto bubbles up from the bottom of the ocean, and we buy it from them. Well, us and the Sith, of course. The Selkath don't want to play favorites.
Wait, does that mean Kolto? If Kolto is Bacta before Bacta was invented, does that mean Kolto is the hipster Bacta? You probably haven't heard of it. Why do the Republic
The
and Sith
Selkath
both
think
stay
that by
here?
staying neutral, they can play both sides, selling Kolto to everyone that needs it, and making themselves too valuable to be worth conquering. Well, that, and they threaten to destroy the only natural source of Kolto on the planet if anyone tries to attack them. But I think they're underestimating the length the Sith will go to get what they want. They're probably planning something already. Is there anything else you require?
Have you seen an ancient star map?
Star map? Like an ancient artifact or something? No, I'm sorry, I've never heard of it. Is there anything else I can do for you?
No,
Of
I'm
course.
good.
If you have any other questions, you should probably see Roland Wan. He's the Republic diplomat here. He's by the Republic Enclave near the visitor residences. Oh, if you don't know where that is, go north from here, then south past the port official in the first courtyard, east into the second courtyard, then north, then east again. You got that? Have
No,
a
I'm
pleasant
lost
stay,
already.
Mr. Jedi.
Yeah, this is the one with Revan and... Greetings, human, and welcome to Otto City Visitors Provisional Stand. We're here to provide visitors with all manner of indigenous treats and products. I may just have to bring my knees in tight, Gale. Yes, you're a shop. Show me what you're selling. Yes, I would like some of these. You'll use Star Wars in your homilies, God willing, one day. I'm trying to think if I ever actually used Star Wars in a homily. I don't think I have, but I've certainly used other pop culture. I once quoted Firefly.
Hey there. What can...
I want to talk to you about your brother.
I was a little snappish when we last talked. I'm sorry about that. I get a little touchy when it comes to Griff. It's kind of embarrassing telling people about him.
Embarrassing?
It's
Why?
complicated. Griff wasn't the most popular guy. He had his faults. But I still loved him, you know? Sometimes people don't understand. I never knew my parents. My brother always looked out for me. He's the one who brought me here to Tars. I was just a kid, only 5. But I remember the trip, if you could call it that. We were stuffed inside a packing crate in a starfreighter's cargo hold with just enough food and water to make the trip. Not exactly first class, you know?
That doesn't sound good. I really don't care about your traumatic childhood. Wow.
I don't know the whole story. I was pretty young, but my brother owed a lot of money. Might even have been a few arrest warrants out for him, I don't know. The only way to get off the planet was to smuggle ourselves out. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like we were criminals. Well, maybe my brother was. See,
Father David
this is
once
why
made a
I don't like to
40K
talk about
reference? That's
it.
nuts.
Makes Griff sound worse than he really was. My brother had his problems, but he always looked out for me.
I knew Father David was cool, but I didn't know he was that cool. He's family. You have to stick by your
that's
family.
What I'm trying to say. Without my brother, I don't know where I'd be. He gambled and drank, and he was always borrowing money for his latest get-rich-quick scheme. But he had a good heart, you know? He taught me how to survive, showed me how to slice into a computer security system, how to get inside a locked building without the entrance codes, and how to spot a wealthy mark for a quick shell game.
It would make sense, Step Zero, but Father David's actually Orthodox. That brother needs to stay off the death sticks. Yeah. Pretty handy skills to have.
Griff did right by me. I really
Wait,
miss him since he
his
left.
name is Griff?
I keep hoping he'll
You
come
taught her
back
to
someday.
grift?
He promised me he would.
Why'd he
He
leave?
fell in with a bad crowd.
Really?
It's all Lena's fault. She's the one who took him from me. Just batted those long lashes at him and off he went.
Who?
I don't want to talk about Griff and Lena.
Then why'd you bring her up?
Space tramp makes my blood boil. Subject's closed as far as I'm concerned. If I'm gonna be any help to you, I can't be worrying about my brother running off with some intergalactic skank. So is there something else?
Whoa. Time out. Okay.
Manon's the source for all the Kolto in the galaxy. That's why there's fish-faced Selkath can stay neutral in this whole Sith Republic war. But I don't know much else about this place. Sorry I can't be more help, you know? Is there anything else I can do for you?
No.
Okay, have it your way.
We have talked sufficiently about your brother. Docking Bay 26B. Excuse me? What do you mean cameras deactivated? Okay. private Sith docking bay. It's a very boring corridor. I want to speak to the Chamber of Commerce about the decoration they have here. Yeah, what do you want? Who are you? My name's Joel, and just a traveling Pazak player. Interested in a game? Nope. Nope. No Pazak for us. We're trying to cut back on this stuff. Ah. Makes sense about the camera. What do you mean locked?
Obey the laws here on Manon, human.
Okay. Welcome to Manon. While you're here, I trust you'll follow the rules of governing the activities of off-worlders. What are the rules? Most important is very simple. Kolto smuggling is punishable by death. If you're carrying around any unprocessed Kolto, you better have a permit. The other rule is very simple. Keep the peace. Here in Manon, we maintain careful neutrality, and we react very harshly to people who jeopardize the neutral status. Okay, so don't get in a fight. And any confrontations between the Sith and Republic are dealt with swiftly and decisively. Is that understood? I understand. There's a docking fee of 100 credits. You will have to pay the fee each time you dock on Manon, or you will not be permitted into Otto City. Very well, here you are. Manon Trade and Tourism thanks you, off-worlder. Here's the visitor's guide and map to the city. Refer to it if you have any questions. The gates of Otto City are now open to you. You may come and go as you please, so long as you do not leave the planet. If you do, you'll have to pay the docking fee once more. That's a pretty view. It's looking like a beautiful day out there. Okay, why is there a guard? Oh, there's a prison. It's a good reason to have a guard. I think we found the Sith Enclave.
The Republic
nope.
respects the peace of Otto City, Your Honor. But the Sith are a violent people who leave violence in their wake. I have 3 soldiers in the infirmary.
If the Republic soldiers were more capable, they would not have suffered such serious injuries. Are my soldiers to be punished simply because they won a fair fight?
I thought we weren't supposed to get in a fight.
6 against 3 a fair fight. The Sith are cowards who attack only when they have the advantage of numbers.
I am aware of the Republic's indignation. However, witness reports clearly state your Republic soldiers were as willing to engage in violence as the Sith in this case.
They were provoked, Your Honor. The Sith goaded them into this fight.
Taunts and threats are not sufficient provocation in the eyes of this court. Words can be ignored, which is what your men should have done. This fish person really just said sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me, didn't he? I find both the Republic and Sith to be equally at fault for this breach of the peace. I should throw all parties involved into Otto City Jail, but since no Selkath were harmed in this conflict, I will show mercy and levy a fine of 10,000 credits to both sides. It's quite the fine. What if we collected that fine? The court is dismissed, though I warn that further disturbances will not be viewed with such leniency.
If it weren't for the Republic, Manaan would already be under Sith control. But we haven't heard one word of thanks from the Selkath.
What does the Sith
They
have to say?
everyone on Manaan is equal, but it seems the Republic is a little more equal than the Sith. Neutrality? Ha! That's a laugh!
I think the two of you are treated quite equally in that whole situation, to be honest. No! You're making me get stuck! I am Judge Shalkar, acting on behalf of the Selkath government of Manaan. It is my task to answer the needs of the off-world citizens of both the Republic and the Sith Empire. If you have legitimate grievances with another party, then you should speak to me. You should first, however, consult with the Republic Embassy before pressing formal charges. What if I'm with the Sith? I'm not, but just what if? So we need to get the Sith to, like... Is there a star map? Not precisely, but Manaan holds many wondrous and exciting locales and treasures. Excuse me. Our many shops and boulevards cater to the whim of any species and provide a vibrant nightlife that has to be seen to be believed. This judge knows how to party. This and other tourist paraphernalia can be had at your local embassy. Do not waste my time with it. Duly noted, your fishliness. Then go and enjoy Otto City, and do not break any laws that we would have to lock you up for. The Republic and the Sith both sent their most unlikable people working Manaan embassy for some reason. I mean, some days that's a mood. You have a name? Human, I wish to speak with you if you have the time. Okay. Greetings, human. My name is Nilkos Boas. I was hoping you are enjoying yourself here in Otto City. Our floating city is beautiful, is it not? It's truly a wonder. You are too gracious, human. The beauty of Manaan is delicate. Our ecosystem is complex and fragile, and I fear the preservation of my planet. What you talking about? There is a task I would ask human Jedi. I fear there is nowhere else I can turn. What is it? I'll rest assured there will be ample reward. The Republic has been hiring mercenaries more than usual. As an official of the Selkath people, this is of great concern to me. I only seek the reason for this change in the Republic policy. Why do you need me for this? I cannot trust anyone else. The Republic obviously wants to keep their secret. I've inquired often as their purpose and have been rebuffed. The Sith cannot be trusted to give me an accurate report of events. They will twist the truth so that it furthers their own goals. And the mercenaries are well aware of the high wages the Republic is paying. I would not report anything that might slow the flow of credits into their accounts. Smart fish person. Uncover the truth behind Republic's actions, and I'll pay you 500 credits.
I don't know if I like this. Aren't the Republic supposed to be the good guys?
Please, see if you can find the answers I seek. Find why the Republic is hiring so many mercenaries. Find where they are going. Find why they do not return. I'll do it, but only for the money. I'll look into it for you, or forget it. Yeah, we'll look into it. Once you discover some information, please come speak to me. Believe it or not, I am a friend of the Republic. Whatever the truth, I shall do my best to protect the Republic's interests, and those of the Selkath, of course. You look like a space bee. My name is Shales. I have heard said that you are no friends of the Sith. Is it true? The Sith are a blight upon the galaxy. Though I suspect we have little in common, human, I share your dislike of the Sith. They have brought grief to my family. I am not a fool. I know the Sith do not respect our laws as the Republic does. Were it up to me, I would do everything in my power to aid the Republic in the war against Malak. But intergalactic policy stays my hand. I know the Sith are evil, and I fear they will do I fear what they will do to my people. What are you talking about? Many of the Selkath have vanished, human. Most have gone missing or are on the cusp of adulthood. The youth who someday leave this planet. My own daughter, Shasa, is among those who has disappeared. These disappearances coincide with the arrival of the Sith, and I cannot dismiss the connection. The Sith are up to something, human, something sinister. I can feel it. You want me to investigate these disappearances? I'll give you 500 credits if you can uncover the fate of my daughter and other missing Selkath youth. Not much, but all I can afford. I have no official authority in this matter, and my personal wealth is not vast. There's no one else I can turn to, human. The Republic agents are too closely watched by the Sith, and Auto City authorities cannot act without proof of Sith involvement. I'll look into it. Why do I feel these are connected? I cannot imagine where to begin the investigation, though I suspect the Sith did not act alone. Perhaps the off-worlders in the mercenary enclave. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I had the early mass today, so... If you learn anything human, report back to me at once. If you uncover the fate of my daughter and other missing Selkath youth, I will reward you as promised. Why do I feel like this and the other thing are somehow connected? So I guess we go back to the central area. Maybe we go to East Central next. Probably would be a bad idea to be walking around in a Sith armor I have hiding in my inventory here.
Your precious Republic's days are numbered. It won't be long until Malak turns his armada loose on Coruscant itself.
Save your empty threats, Sith scum. Malak isn't stupid enough to attack the core worlds, not with the entire Republic fleet waiting for him.
You're a fool. When the Sith descend on Coruscant, our numbers will block out the sun itself. The galactic senators will collapse trembling in fear and beg for mercy at Malak's feet.
You underestimate the Republic's resolve. We'll die before we surrender Coruscant.
That can be arranged. Remember what happened to Taris. Malak could do the same to the core worlds.
He wouldn't dare.
Now it is you who underestimate our resolve.
I mean, you guys are evil, but...
How much for all this stuff, Tyvark?
For the Sith, a month's pay, but since you're a member of the Republic, I will charge you a week's salary.
Thanks, Tyvark. Catch you next week.
The Selkath now seem more distant than before. They treat members of the Republic at arm's length only. I hope this does not negatively impact our trade. If they give too much deference to the Sith, then the monsters will simply come in and take over. But my feelings about the Sith are well known around Ahto City, and I shall spare you further outbursts. What can I do for you? What have you got in stock? That could be good for, oh, it's 5,000 credits. Ugh. I feel like this city is going to be hard to navigate because everything looks the same. Well, we found the embassy. We wanted to head there anyway. Hey, Roland, you're the dude we're looking for.
As the official representative of the Republic Embassy on this planet, I'm here to help all citizens of the Republic should they require aid.
Why are your soldiers loading so much Kolto?
Its healing powers are near miraculous. During times of war, Kolto becomes even more valuable. As long as we have the permits, we will continue to harvest Kolto and ship it to our Republic soldiers battling against the Sith. Of course, the Sith enjoy the very same privileges. If there was some way we could gain an edge over the Sith in our Kolto supply, but the Selkath are fiercely protective of their neutrality in this conflict. They do not want to grant either side an advantage.
I'm on a mission from the Jedi Council.
Oh, of course. Of course, I'll do whatever I can. But I'm only a simple diplomatic representative of the Republic. I doubt I can be of any use to the Jedi Council. An ancient and forgotten race. And you think it may be here on Manaan?
You know something?
Well, perhaps. But if you want to get information about that, you'll have to do something for me first.
What do you want me to do?
We were using a submersible reconnaissance droid in the ocean surrounding Ahto City, and it was damaged. It took a data recording of the outside of the city before being driven off by the Phyraxan sharks. But while it was returning to the surface, it encountered difficulties and was disabled. Its automatic systems floated it to the surface, but we could not retrieve it in time. The Sith were applying subtle pressure to the Selkath authorities for some reason we've not determined, and were able to delay us long enough that they could retrieve the droid before we did. The droid's data centers are heavily encrypted, so it will take the Sith several days, we believe, to get to its data. It was captured 12 hours ago. It is imperative that we get it back.
Okay. Where is it?
It's heavily guarded, we're sure, in the Sith embassy here on Manaan. Since we have no remaining soldiers to spare, and certainly not our elite ones, we have no one capable of entering the Sith base and retrieving it. That is what we would ask you to do.
How do I get in?
There are several leads we've been working on to get into the Sith base. Any of them should work for you, although it might be wise to concentrate your efforts on just one. The first method that's possible is to help us interrogate a Sith prisoner we managed to catch after he tried to infiltrate our base. He's being held just inside our enclave. We think he may be able to give us the passcode that the Sith give their informers to enter the base. He has proved most resilient so far.
Is there another way that does involve torture?
Sith data cards, the type they use for passcards. The encryption system to unlock them is very difficult, however. But if you are more skilled than our technicians, you may be able to gain access that way. The Sith have got the Selkath to give them exclusive use of one of the main hangar bays. Visiting Sith Masters use this bay to land, then take a speeder over the water to an external entrance to the Sith Enclave. The luckless spy we mentioned earlier had a pass card to that hangar on him. While it is surely well guarded, it may prove to be the most direct route. Here's the card. The Sith base itself
Well, that
is
sounds
very
like an
heavily
option.
guarded. If they became aware of your presence, I fear you would be quickly outnumbered and killed. Here is a pass card to get you inside our facility. You should find all you need to get started in there. You can choose whichever of the methods you want, as long as you get in the base and get the data recording back. Which method do you think you would like to try first?
I think I'm going to try the
Good luck
landing.
for that one. Odds are they have some pretty strong guards in there. But it's
I have a
also the way most
lightsaber.
likely to succeed. I wish you luck in your task. Should you retrieve the data recording from the droid, return it here to me, and we can see about getting you that information.
No prisoners detected, except for this prisoner right here. Weapons free, everyone. Not necessarily gonna go in guns blazing, but...
So you're the one who's gonna try to get into the Sith base, eh? Huh, good luck, you're gonna need it. This is our main computer room here. We got the box of pass cards we got from the Sith, but we haven't been able to break their encryption yet. We have been able to decode the numeric system they use, but there are holes in our terminal sequence patterns.
What kind of holes?
The encryption
Donut
system
holes?
is composed of 6 matrices. Each is based on a mathematical method. The holes we're missing are the final number in each of the strings. Most are simple, but the final 2 matrices seem to be much more difficult. The second last matrix has
Matrices.
a pattern looping back on itself, or something. And the last is divided into smaller subparts. Maybe the pattern for that is within each part. But I have to admit, all this is a bit over my head. I haven't even been able to slice past the first matrix, and I've been at this for hours. I've ruined a dozen cards already. But the good thing is we have a whole box of them, so you don't have to worry about running out anytime soon. Since Roland said you were cleared, you can use the computer freely. I'll be here if you have any questions.
I prefer, with this Cold War, just the impressiveness of the Selkath to keep it at a Cold War. Has anyone just tried talking to the Sith and seeing if that gets us in?
Huh?
Yes?
I do like the music for this part.
This street is for Sith only. You gotta pay a 20 credit toll to walk down this street.
This is a public street.
Hiding behind the Selkath laws. Typical Republic cowards.
Whoever's... Yeah, but look at that. I can walk down the street. So I think we know who the real coward is. Yordle's Emporium. What's a Yordle?
You got any armor plating for my spook bike?
Yes, I have a fine piece right here. A little dented, but still serviceable. Real bargain at that price. Oh good, more bike racing.
I thought this garbage was free. You actually sell this junk? You fish are a strange breed.
Get out of my store. I'm sick of you Sith and your stupid jokes. He's an Alorthian, not a fish. I've got real customers who are about... I don't need you coming in here making fun of my inventory every day.
Don't worry, Junkman. When I want garbage, I'll be back.
Yordle? They're a short, long-eared species in League of Legends universe. Well, apparently this is... You here to mock me, Sith? I'm not here to make fun of you. I'm Karth Devon. Oh, please forgive me. I had no cause to be rude to you. The Sith make such trouble for me and my business has been slow. That's no excuse for my tone. I apologize. Please let me start off on the right foot. Welcome to the used goods store of Yordle Ixalis. If there's anything I can help you with, all you need to do is ask. Sure, what's in your inventory? Some repair kits, droid plating. I remember what our droids have. I think this is the entrance to the Sith Embassy, if I had to guess. Yep. We're going to ignore that for now. I don't think we're ready for the front door approach.
We might have a position within the Sith organization for one such as you.
Your offer is pretty good, but I've heard some nasty things about you, Sith. Is it true you bombed Terrace into dust?
No, we bombed it into glass.
Certain distasteful acts cannot be avoided. But ask yourself this, when we win this war, would you rather be against the Sith or with us?
You make a good point. And I've never turned down a job that pays up front.
Excellent. Report to the Sith Embassy tomorrow for your assignment.
I don't think that's a good idea, my dude.
Sorry, but you're too late to recruit me. I've just hired on with the Sith. Of course, if the Republic has better off.
Have you heard about Jesus instead? Have you considered Jesus?
Hey, keep your lectures. The Sith pay well, and they pay up front. That's all I care about.
Well, you wouldn't even tell me how much, and you wouldn't let me offer any alternative payments, so... Swoop bike racing? I can't wait to ignore that. So I currently have the passcode, keycard, whatever, to get into the docking area, I guess. So let's start there. I mean, how bad can it go? Sorry, mission. We've already talked to you once. How many times have I had a total party wipe this game? I don't know. I don't keep track of that sort of thing. That sounds like unuseful information. Sounds overrated.
Yeah?
Oh, so I didn't talk to you, so you're just gonna lag behind everyone else. Oh, okay. That's cool.
Sure.
Where's the Wookiee going?
Huh?
What?
Why are you running away, mission? The pathfinding in this game sometimes is a little infuriating, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I did just save for no particular reason. Don't worry about it. Hmm. How's she taking damage? Excuse me, do you want to go back to attacking this guy? No more Grenadier, please. Thank you. That went pretty well. All things considered. But maybe this time, let's try something a little different. Do we still have... No, we got rid of the Sith armor. Okay, well that would have made sense. Would have been nice to have. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm betting, and I would be right.
Sure.
Maybe that fight would have gone a little bit differently, but probably not terribly. Transport online, loading flight data. Commence launch. Yes!
Didn't work.
Whose demo skill is best? It's got a 2. It's got a 13.
Yeah?
Sure.
Yeah?
Why don't you try disarming this?
What?
There we go. Flow control room.
You there. I don't recognize you. How did you get in here?
We're authorized to be here.
I don't recognize you.
Oh.
I know the face of every Sith on this planet. We'll get to the bottom of this. Commander Gran.
Problem.
You authorized this person to enter. I don't know them. And their identification doesn't match up. They're spies.
What? Sound the alarm! Droids, destroy them!
You know, some days you just... You just want to walk into a Sith base some days and be able to get get through it without necessarily starting a fight in an intergalactic diplomatic event. Remember when you said you weren't going to go in guns blazing? What's the worst that could happen? No, I don't know what you're talking about, Sub-Zero. These are some ridiculous lies you're peddling in chat. And I said I wasn't going to go into guns blazing. They started opening fire on me first. I'm going to turn down the game just a little bit, though. It was a little loud during the fight. Oh, dear. Well, that wasn't that bad, actually.
You there.
Force persuade.
You. Come on.
Nope. She's very resistant to the Force.
You, I did.
What?
It's a bit of a problem. But as long as all those droids have not the best AI, I think we could actually do okay here. And mission is rushing in. Rota. So in the gospel, Jesus kind of calls out his disciples today of like, really, you get it, you understand it, because you're not gonna always feel that way. And I actually resonate with that, because you know, there are times when life and everything makes sense, and then there's moments when, you know, it doesn't. And it's kind of finding the way to navigate the in-between that a life of faith can really help with. Disassembly room, I've got a good feeling about that.
Yeah?
Yes?
Alright, you two handle that. Or you pass out. That's cool too. Well, that sure happened. Okay, so I think we found the thing, but let's not go just rushing into it right away. Let's see if we can find maybe a computer to hack that might give us something to help. That door's fake. It lies. Why? Why do you have a fire-spitting robot? Overload a conduit? I mean, probably not, since I know that that kills me, but... Y'all are doing a terrible job against these droids. You can have two robots that have flamethrowers too. Why can't Sith use theirs? Yeah, because they're the Sith. Oh. No time for a Dark Jedi in here. It verfs Flamen. It does verf Flamen. That's the problem. I don't want to get verfed with Flamen. Just gonna stand there, Zalbar. Nope, I think we're TPKing again. Really, I think the best option I have is going into the, what else is around here? Because at least this way then I can work on getting my force meter back up. Have a little more health. Nope, wrong direction. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to disturb your work. I like that these two elite troopers are just like chilling. There's big fights happening over on the other side of the room. There's some, I feel like walking over there. And the Wookiee started the fight. Kind of hoping you wouldn't do that, actually. I concur, Mission. Although you're not looking too great on your health either. No, no, why? No, AI. Literally cannot leave him alone. Come on, it is a stationary target that is concussed. It's a shame there's no stealth option in this game. There's stealth abilities, but they don't really work, do they? You can stealth in this game, it's just mostly useless. Exactly, it's there, but it's so hard to actually use that it's basically not worth it. Fake door. All right, how many repair parts do I have? I have 15. Let's optimize its weaponry, its targeting systems, its shields. Put it into. Ow! I was trying to let the robot take care of everything. Okay, fine. No, why? Make up your mind what you're targeting. Ow. Alright, let's see if we can clear this room safely. So close. Come on. One more hit. Yes! We did it. We have cleared this room. And no one got knocked out. Well, no one on our side. I feel like as soon as I touch this, something's going to happen. So, you know. Data module. Do I just exit the front door? It can't be that easy. Oh. You're placed under arrest. Of the Otto Civil Authority. What? Why? Though the Sith Embassy here is considered sovereign territory of the Sith Empire, we have been monitoring an alarming number of weapon discharges and detonations from within the base. Inquiries to the staff of the embassy yielded no response. It would seem that contact had been cut off. Our cameras recorded you entering the base shortly before contact was lost, and fighting apparently began. It is the conclusion of the Otto Civil Authority that you are responsible for the disturbance here and are hereby placed under arrest. You'll come with us and await your trial. As material witnesses, the individuals who will accompany you will be detained at your vessel. The vessel will be prohibited from leaving Manaan. We will leave. Now, do not attempt to resist, or we shall resort to overwhelming force. I have a feeling even if I went out the other way, I probably still would have been arrested. I am Wallace, and I have been selected as your arbiter during the duration of your trial. I don't need anyone to resent me. No. Represent me? Nah. Arbiter? Yes, Arbiter. The one who defends you before the judges of the Selkath people. I'll endeavor to prove to them that you are not guilty of heinous crimes that you are accused of, Off-Worlder. What have I been charged with? You've been charged with initiating violence within the Sith Embassy, murdering members of the Ambassadorial Commission of the Sith Empire, and disregarding our laws regarding violence of Otto City. Now we get legal proceedings. Would you rather I just start playing Ace Attorney? I mean, if you want legal proceedings. Okay, what can I do? I would first like to ask you a few questions regarding the events that led up to your arrest. I have already been given all relevant data on you and your companions. That can be disregarded. For what reason did you enter the Sith Embassy? Yeah, Danganronpa is not Father Evan friendly. Ace Termistream, whenever I raid Bree. So here's an interesting thing. Obviously, 2 of these are lies, even though I kind of had authorization. I had a key card, not authorization to enter. So I think I have to be honest here. Because if we're trying to, be a paragon of the light side, as this game puts it, obviously, guns blazing may not be the most light side, but I feel like the Force is most deontological in its system. So we're gonna say broken. That seem to be a common occurrence among you off-worlders. I'm not terribly surprised by your action, but the judges will want to hear a little more convincing reason. What was your prior association with the Sith? I'm on a mission to stop them from taking over the galaxy. Yeah, that seems about right. The Sith are an expansive power, true, and at war with the Republic. You make it your personal mission to foil them, but the authorities will take a dim view of taking place here. I think you'll need a more thorough explanation in order to convince the judges. And that should be all the information I require for now. If you wish, we can begin the trial whenever you are ready. Yeah, let's get this trial party started. I'm sure Danganronpa is not friendly to anyone. Fair. Not wrong. You stand accused of grievous murder of many Sith and extensive property damage to their embassy here. How do you plead? My client pleads not guilty, Your Honors. Go off, King. Oh, let the record show the trial has commenced. Presiding judges are Shelkar, Josa, Nalashekhan, Kota, and Dula. This trial is to determine the culpability and punishment of the individual of recent assaults on the Sith Embassy. Given the severity of this trial, we can dispense with the normal formalities of the court and proceed directly. You have pleaded not guilty, yet there are reports of weapons fire and detonations from within the Sith Embassy. I don't have a gun! You were seen entering and leaving the embassy. The Sith have not conferred with authorities about this matter, but from all available evidence, it would seem that you are the source of the disturbance. My client was there by circumstance, and it was not involved in the disturbance. I'm gonna let this Arbiter do what the Arbiter's gonna do. It's merely a mistake against a person who is there in the wrong place at the wrong time on legitimate business. Oh, I wouldn't say that. That does not seem likely, Arbiter. The weight of material evidence, including those items in the defendant's possession, is too strong. What legitimate business was your client involved in at the Sith Embassy? Diplomatic relations. The business of the Jedi Order, of course. My client, is noted on the entry transcript, is a member of said order. I mean, he's not wrong. We were there on the business of the Jedi Order. As a member of the Order, my client is above reproach. Jedi would not have murdered so many out of spite. The Order is involved in a war with the Sith. Very messy war. It is not unreasonable that some fanatic would seek to bring that war here. My client is not a fanatic. Like Subapod, waiting to strike when it hatches, no doubt. Please, Your Honor, that is unfair. Enough. We have heard. Your explanation is not good enough, Arbiter. You have failed! There's more than enough evidence to convict this criminal. Please, Your Honor, my client is mentally incompetent. Wow. Throw me under the bus. Unable to perform complex thoughts. Please, I throw my client on the mercy of the court. This feels like a trap. Because if I interrupt, I prove him wrong. We're going to see. The court does not dispense mercy, only justice. Your client is sentenced according to the law and tradition. It's a trap. That's the wrong fish, people. No, I'm a Republic citizen. This court finds no alternative. We hereby sentence you to death. You'll be executed immediately. I feel like I made a mistake somewhere. You can still make a dinner reservation. Yeah. I don't think that's what Carth Devin is concerned about at this point, but you know. Let's go out the other way. Just see. Forgot that that was a possible outcome. Did I just fail so hard that I jogged your memory, Freyherd? Mission. Where are you? Stuck on a wall. I feel like I'm still gonna get arrested if I go this other way, but the door has been permanently sealed. Okay, well, you know what? So you know what would be helpful is if I were to say, be trying to free Selkath children that have been abducted by the Sith.
What?
What?
Let's maybe try to take these 3 Dark Jedi on with full health. I do suppose being executed is a solution to this game. However, it's kind of a quick end. Have you nerds stopped? I don't think that's the run. You know, no one told me this game was a roguelike. You know, I was really close that first time, and now all these subsequent times I'm not. We have the flamethrowing droids in here. I could hurt them. I wonder if I can just... Don't mind me, just exploring. Ah, I found a room full of poison. The poison for Kuzco. Kuzco's poison. That poison. Maybe if I had a droid who didn't need to breathe air, I could get through there, but... Well, we've exhausted some possibilities, but I think we're just going to go back and try and stand trial again. At least they died together? Yeah, wasn't it so, like, friendly? I don't know. Okay, let's see what we can do here. What have I been charged with? Oh, you get me free. I know lying is bad, but I think we had authorization to enter. I have no prior association. I'm skeptical of that, as will the judge's world. People congregate amongst yourself. Okay, so I think we need to interrupt our lawyer at the right time. How do you plead? Not guilty. Okay, if I interrupt him here, then they'll be like, cool, you're guilty. Death. So the judges are here. Interrupt. What is it, Off-Roller? You have something to say regarding your reason for being there? I wish to dismiss my arbiter. No, that's not why I was there. Then your arbiter does not speak for you? Yes, I need to dismiss my arbiter, apparently, because last time we had an arbiter, it led to one solution. I will defend myself. My client demands I shall retire. As you will. Now then, what was your explanation for being at the Sith Embassy? The Sith lured me in. I was working for the Republic. I was interfering appearances of the youth Selkath. The man who defends himself as a fool for a client. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. Look at that face. I mean, I was investigating the disappearances. You believe the Sith has something to do with these disappearances? Off-Worlder has probably been listening to Shellus and his rumor-mongering. Most likely. Do you have any proof to back up your assumption, human? Have the Sith been implicated? Not really. You need to come up with a better excuse then, Off-Worlder. I'm working for the Republic. You work for the Republic, so the Republic has had you break in and kill the Sith? It is as I suspected. Do not jump to conclusions. Why did the Republic have you enter the Sith Embassy? I was there for diplomatic negotiations. But it does seem in character for the Sith to renege on their commitments. There have been many provocations before this. Their character is well known. Indeed, but that is not an issue for an outsider to hear. We will adjourn to debate your story and charges brought against you. Okay, this time the trial's going around a bit better. You have reviewed your case and decided that there's not enough evidence to convict you in this crime. Yes! Provocations of the Sith are well known, and you'll be issuing you a memo of censure against them. Their embassy is considered off-limits to Ahto City security personnel. No calls or incidents from their base will be attended to until this matter is dealt with, as they are no longer subject to the protections of Selkath law. You have been found innocent. You may leave as you desire. Your trial is over now. Woo! We did better than our own lawyer. Now you can go raid the Sith base with impunity. Except for all the Sith that are in there, you know, with their guns. How do I... Oh, court. Okay, I have to go back to the center then. Shoot first, ask questions later. The Han Solo approach. Yeah, still amazingly not that helpful some days. There's a side quest where you can be a lawyer for a friend of the companion recruited on Kashyyyk. He gets in trouble on Manaan. Well, I've won 100% of the cases I've been on, so therefore I am the galaxy's greatest lawyer. Can't be confused if you don't think. True, but unhelpful. Roland, my
Have you managed
bud.
to retrieve the data from our droid in the Sith base? Time is a critical factor. We cannot allow the Sith to decode that.
Wait, I thought I picked it up. Oh no. Oh no, this is terrible. I never picked it up because I was like, I'm gonna save before I touch that thing. Unless to avoid something happening. And then I never went back for it. It's okay, we know the answer to the trial puzzle. Yeah, we can click through it pretty quickly, so. Arbiter? Let's get the trial started. Plead not guilty, and then at the first other option, we're gonna be like, I want my own. I was working for the Republic. Diplomatic negotiations. Memo of censure.
Huh?
Sure.
Oh, now where'd mission get to? Okay, now this time that we have the, I headed one more over. Now we have the data to bring back to the dude.
Have you managed to retrieve the data from our...
Here it is.
Excellent. It does not appear to have been tampered with, so the Sith did not manage to copy its contents yet. And now for your information. We are not supposed to speak of this, but since you are a Jedi and we have exhausted all the other options, I think I can entrust you with this. As you know, the Republic is fighting for its very existence against the evil of the Sith Empire. As you also undoubtedly know, we're doing very poorly. We need much in the way of supplies and material to stem the tide of battle and bring us victory. Manon is the sole source of Kolto, the most powerful medical substance in the galaxy. Frankly, we need as much of it as we can get. The Selkath conservatives, with their neutrality treaties, seek to treat the Sith and the Republic equally. This includes Kolto exports, but a few more far-sighted Selkath see that if the Sith are ever allowed to win, the galaxy will be plunged into darkness, and there would be nothing to stop them from taking Manon anyway, so we made a deal.
What sort of a deal?
We recently began construction of a secret underground facility to harvest Kolto directly at its source. We also hope to one day be able to synthesize it effectively. Current techniques are insufficient for the task, so we must mine it for now. The amount we take would hardly be noticed, since most is lost naturally before it reaches the surface anyway. We were nearing completion of the base when the digging teams reported some sort of obstruction. An ancient building or artifact, possibly your star map. Transmissions from the base were cut off abruptly after that, and we haven't heard from the station since.
What happened?
We don't know. We just don't know. As you may have noticed, we're hiring a lot of mercenaries around here. Ostensibly, they're to be shipped off-world to aid in our fight against the Sith, but they're really for another purpose. When we lost contact with the station in the Rackard Rift, we sent our contingent of Republic soldiers down to investigate. None returned. We've tried hiring mercenaries and sending them down as well, but none of those expeditions have returned either. The reason we really sent that droid underwater, and the reason we needed its data back so badly, was to find out what happened to the Rackard Rift station. But now that we have the data back, our operation is in no danger of exposure to the Sith. And now I must live up to my end of the bargain.
How am I supposed to get down there?
I took the liberty of having a submarine prepared for your departure. Merely use this card to get past the door behind our Kolto packing room and enter the sub therein. It has been programmed to take you down to the station, and also to take you back up should you need something. I would send soldiers to assist you, but we've lost many of ours, and nearly exhausted the mercenary population of this planet. The soldiers we have are barely enough to keep this base secure. The Sith have also noted our interest, and begun to bribe mercenaries away from us. Please, find out what happened to the facility. There may be some survivors left out there. Perhaps even the head scientist, Kono Nolan. Good luck in your efforts.
Cool. Thank you. I'm doing well, Catholic Brit. How about yourself? So we actually also have the answer now for that one Selkath who was like, hey, what's with all the mercenaries? So we could go give him that information, get our 500 credits. Of course, it's all the way back here. Very busy day of work and a little stressed, but you'll survive. I worked 2 events over the past weekend. That's a lot. Yeah, that's tiring. So I hear you. I mean, do what you need to take care of yourself. Do some good self-care. She wants to know what happens to the kids. Oh, no, you're the one. Not yet. I shall investigate further. It's you, boss. Yes, they're sending me now to a secret base. It is I fear the Republic is fortunate that I was assigned to investigate this case. Human, allow me to be blunt with you. If I report this violation to my superiors, the Republic will be banned from Manon, but I do not wish to do this. I see the Sith for what they truly are, ruthless and evil. The Republic has always respected our independence, but if they fall, the Sith will be quick to send an invasion and conquer Manon. But I cannot simply ignore the Republic has done. The Rackard Rift is the source of Manon's Kolto. I fear the science station may damage production of the delicate resource. You must tell the Republic to stop this madness once. Make them shut down the facility and recall their people before they do something they regret. They can't. They've lost contact with it. Of course, I should realize. Doubtless they are hiring the mercenaries to investigate the situation. I said that! I fear the mercenaries may not have been enough to save their station. There are ancient mysteries in the Rackard Rift. Some that the Selkath do not comprehend. I fear the Republic has awakened something that is best left undisturbed. I'm going to investigate it. As you wish. Perhaps you'll find the answers the mercenaries could not. I will keep our conversation secret so that the vile Sith will not gain from the Republic's foolishness. My only hope is that the silence does not lead to the disaster of Manon. Here is your payment as I promised you. And I must take my leave. Human superiors are expecting a full report from me, and there is much I must do to ensure they cannot uncover the Republic's actions. Hey, Skrullich. Hey, good to see ya. Vacation was good. Had a great time. It's just good to spend time with my friends and eat some good food. One evening, but 6:45 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Oof, that's a long day. That is a long day. Yeah, no, the vacation was very good. Just kind of a good chance to get away and see some folks, spend some time with them that I haven't in a while. I don't eat a whole lot on my stream. Plus, the friends I was hanging out with aren't really people who know how to use Twitch, so I don't really get to see them here. Ah, yes. No, and I definitely missed y'all. I missed the stream. Yeah, no, the people I was with are not ever in stream, actually. Wait, where am I going? This bit went horribly wrong. By folks, I meant your parents. Yeah, no, my parents are usually in chat, but I was not with my parents. I was with some friends from Columbus, Ohio. It's all good, Squirrel. Restricted access. Is this my restricted access? Yes. Submersible. It looks like a Batman submersible. Looks awesome. Yeah, sure. Okay. Questions are always good and welcome. This submersible can be used to descend to the deep ocean of Hawkirk Research Station. Let's go. Let's find out what's down there. What sort of weird monster I have to fight. Yeah, typically, so the actual act of being a consecrated virgin is just for women in the church. It's kind of like, I mean, this isn't a perfect parallel, but in the way that like priesthood is only for men, consecrated virgin is only for women. You can be a celibate layperson all your life, and that is a valid vocation. But you don't necessarily have the extra spiritual dimension of the consecration available to you if you're a guy. I mean, really, the ultimate goal of the of a celibate vocation, male or female, as a layperson, is to simply be a sign of God's love in the world, to be a member of the community, of the church, and also to be you know, celibacy is a great sign of the kingdom of God, to live for God alone. And so to be a sign of that in the world and in the church. So, you know, that really has to be kind of discerned.
How did you get in? Did they send another submersible? Quick, we have to get out of here. We have to get away.
What happened? Anyway, you know, the exact way it's lived out is it kind of has to be discerned unique to that person. For some, that may mean discerning life as a hermit, a diocesan hermit. That's an option. I actually know a couple guys who have done that, but you know, for some, they don't need a formal ceremony. Yeah, and again, like for some folks, there is that need for a formal ceremony to affirm and you know, I think to express prayer and trust in the Holy Spirit. But I think there are also lots of people for whom that's, you know, they're like, no, I don't need that public ceremony to affirm that. It is what it is. So, yeah, no, I think that's a great question. I think the church is still kind of coming to understand what the whole celibate lay vocation is, and not just as like well, you couldn't do any of the other vocations, so have this consolation prize, but truly understanding that role, you know. And as St. Paul speaks of, you know, some were made eunuchs, some chose to be eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom, not literal eunuchs, but that sense of giving up of that kind of relationship for the kingdom. And so there's a goodness and I think a witness in a life of community. When I was working at a campus ministry and we had a vocations panel, we usually tried to find someone who was a celibate layperson intentionally, you know, whether or not they were consecrated virgin or not, to kind of have that witness of who they are, and have that as an option. So, what happened here?
No, we have no time. We have to leave now. I managed to close the door after they killed everyone else, but I don't know how long it will hold.
I have to find a star map.
Talking about, I've never seen any map. Just stinking, raking death. The Selkath, they went crazy. They started killing anything that moved. Someone must have triggered the defense systems too, because all the droids activated as well. I was one of the mercs the Republic sent down here to find out what happened.
Too much Kolto makes these things go crazy.
The first couple of rooms, there were bodies everywhere, and the Selkath came out, screaming and croaking their fishy little war cries.
What happened to the scientists?
They're dead. All dead. They swarmed out and over us. There was no way we could stop them, so we ran. But hardly any of us made it. I locked the door behind us, but the others had already left in the submersible. The sharks, the Firaxa out there, and worse. I heard an explosion shortly after the submersible left. They didn't make it. Just food for the sharks and the Selkath. Like us.
Yeah, Britt. Questions are always good and welcome. Well, I have to get into the station.
I locked the door so the Selkath won't get in. If you open it, we're all done for.
The difference between actual and sanctifying grace. I didn't think there was going to be a pop quiz today. Yeah, so the basic way I understand the difference, and this is very, I don't want to say in the weeds, but like this is very detail-oriented theology. You know, I think you can go your whole life as a Catholic and never even hear of the phrase actual or sanctifying grace, but still have an understanding of God's grace. All grace comes from God, and really, these two kinds are not. It's not as though God has like a spoonful of one and a spoonful of the other. It's really kind of how we experience it and what it does for us. So sanctifying is specifically the graces associated with the sacraments, that those experiences of grace are moments of salvation for us. You know, our sins are wiped away. We are fed with the body and blood of Christ. That is a sanctifying moment. Not to say that other grace moments are not sanctifying, but like those moments are like special in that way. Actual grace is more when we talk about how grace is motivating within us, that it's pushing us to a life of certain action and response to God's grace. That's how I remember the difference. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's the best way I can think of describing. And again, it's not that they're two different kinds of grace. It's how we understand and approach that experience of grace and where it's coming from. And so it gets, again, it's all grace. That makes it kind of confusing, I know. Oh, but we're all done for. I have no choice.
If you go in there, you're dead. You're all dead. If you want to die, then go. You won't hear me mourning for you. I'll stay here and be safe until some sort of real rescue comes.
I don't know why that got auto-modded, Squirrel. Because the thing it auto-modded on was the word thing. Only thing I'd be interested in following up on is if you would distinguish between somebody who tried for marriage and it never worked for them and ended up being a virgin as a consequence versus somebody just being interested in being celibate from the get-go and therefore having done so intentionally. I know the church takes intention into consideration in other areas, so curious about this one. No, it was just the word, it just highlighted the word thing and was like, this is not allowed. What? Automod. Yeah. Well, intention does matter, and our journeys do matter because our journeys are inherently valid. Automod was thing as a sex, as a gender, or non. Oh, interesting. As like as referring to a person as a thing, essentially, I guess. That makes sense. But yeah, I mean, if you have someone who's like, who attempted marriage, got an annulment, and then becomes a consecrated virgin, or someone who goes from it from the get-go, I think both are, the church would look at both of those and say they have found their vocation in the end. You know, I know some of my own brothers were married civilly before they became priests, and, you know, it was a different path ultimately for them. I came straight out of college, so, you know, I was never married. But both are valid, and I think it's just different ways that different life experiences help to shape a vocation, and that what we bring to it will differ, and how we apply it will differ, and not that one is better than the other, but the other, God is drawing straight with the crooked lines of all of it, and is bringing about goodness in all of our lives. You know, the words out of often like an ordination or vows or anything like that is, may God bring to completion the good work he has already begun in you. Our sense of vocation, you know, sometimes we can think it's something we pick, but it's not. It's really responding to God's grace already within us. So. Can we take this guy? Where did we go? I walked behind you. Come with us.
No! Whatever's out there will eat me. You can't make me.
Okay, so...
No,
be fine.
no! When the Republic sends a real team down, they'll save me. They'll
You're most
kill
welcome,
the
Squirrel.
monster and then
Glad to
we'll all
help.
leave safely. If you're going to go into the rest of the station, don't expect me to help you.
Okay, so you don't want me to leave, but you don't want to come with me, but you want me to go. Plug into this computer. View central storage room. Nope. Whoop. No, view the camera feed again, please. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, there are at least 5 of them in there. I might vent gas into that room. Sure, Catholic Brit. Just give me a moment. Yeah, so, again, sanctifying would be the graces of the sacrament, so, you know, receiving communion, going to confession. Corrupt patrol droid targeting program. That's a lot of spikes. I don't have a ton. So I think that's like the easiest one. Actually, give you a oh, okay. Okay. Hallway. Security room. Ooh. Yeah, let's deactivate that droid's shield. Environment suit. Okay, nothing in there. Computer room. That's us. Let's download the schematic of the area, and let's log out. Pew, 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 pew.
Yes?
Oh, hey, we leveled up. Let's up our wisdom, because then we get an extra point in that. Characters that focus on using single one-handed weapons. Does the lightsaber count as a single-handed weapon? I feel like it should, but I feel like it won't. Yes, we have improved healing. Oh, there were more Soulcath in this room than I thought. Wait, I'm pretty sure that since you're not dual wielding flurry build is pretty strong melee. Your lightsaber should count as a single-handed weapon. Yeah, I guess it would make sense, wouldn't it? So, maybe next feat, I'll take that. Or, because I died, and therefore lost the level up, everything is fine. Yeah, it's just so when you see the lightsaber in his hand, in both hands, it's like, ooh. Okay, so I don't have to worry about leveling up again and doing all that. I say as soon as they level up.
Huh? Huh?
Sure.
I feel like opening the pressurized door is a bad idea. Oh, these are not the ones I just gassed. Also, there's only 2 of them now? There were 3 last time. need to heal. And failed to heal in time.
Huh?
Sure.
You froze my Wookiee! I'm not even seeing these mines. Oh, scientist memo. Thought we had disactivated your, Oy vey. You are back. Alright, well, we're just smashing this robot. So, really the best way to understand the difference between sanctifying and actual grace is not the kind of grace they are, but more the way God is using that grace. So, sanctifying is the grace of the sacraments. So, you receive Eucharist, you get grace. You go to confession, you get absolved, you receive grace. Actual grace is how we understand God's grace transforming us and pushing us to do something. So, like, having an experience and going, oh, you know, I should be more involved in my parish in XYZ way. It would be an example of actual grace. I'm just going to leave Zalbar to take care of that for a little bit. get my force power back. Do some healing. You had to click. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it's a trickier distinction. Yeah, that's a reality in English. I should have started with that actual is about actualizing, not real versus pretend. Because, yeah, that's what happens when we try to translate things from centuries-old Latin into modern English. Please, just be done already. Well, that's a problem. Let's see if we can do this. Whose long distance shooting is better? Follow-up question. If you get Sanctifying Grace from receiving the Eucharist, do we still get Sanctifying Grace and the same amount of grace when we make a spiritual communion? It both makes sense that we would. It would seem like physically receiving Jesus would give more grace. Yeah, well, the sacraments are themselves the source of the grace, and so there is, by visual participation, a spiritual act of communion helps you to participate in that sacrifice, not in the same way, though. And, like, even... And theologians would agree, it's like, yeah, no, a spiritual act of communion is not the same as receiving communion. It's still good, especially when you're not able to receive communion under other circumstances, but it does not replace or equal to it. Anna Kit has redeemed a father joke. No, that one takes too much setup. Anyway, what's a scarecrow's favorite fruit? Strawberries. Let's try a grenade on this thing. Wow, this thing is resilient. Thank you. We got there.
Sure.
Just took most of our grenades. So if you're at Mass where you're unable to receive, I wouldn't be getting the same grace because it's different than receiving the Eucharist. Is that what you're saying, or am I missing? No, that's correct. There is a difference between attending a mass. There's a difference between watching a mass online, attending a mass, and attending and receiving communion. There, because of the action of the mass being us as a community offering our sacrifice, and that sacrifice being united at the gifts at the altar, and those being gifts being transformed, and us then receiving that transformed gift. There is a greater grace. It's not to say that there isn't any grace at except for that last one, but more just that the greatest effusion, the greatest expression and understanding that we can have of it is when we attend, participate, and receive the Eucharist at a Mass. Does it matter if the ability to receive is under the participant's control? Yeah, I mean, it's the reason is not the reason we do or do not receive does not impact, if that makes, like, the reason, for whatever reason.
Somebody out there? Fishy, 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 come and eat me too. You can't get me, little fishy. Not in here. I'm safe behind my walls.
You know, if you didn't fast and you're choosing to not receive because of that, or you're just choosing not to, or any other reason, the reason why you're not receiving doesn't change the amount of grace you receive by attending but not receive. That you know, the celebration and participation in the sacraments is the greatest expression, especially the Eucharist being the source and summit of our faith. That is, you know, it is the complete action that brings us into the greatest contact with God's grace.
Investigate? You're just like the others. Fodder for the Selkath. Walk and fish next. Trump, trump, trump. If you can run, you might be fast food.
Why did I make a father joke? He made one for me.
I'm safe. Nothing can hurt me. No fishy food for me.
Come out. We'll protect you from the Selkath.
No, that's what the others said. Mercenaries like you, but they're dead. The Selkath ate them. Lunchy munchy. Only the ones left in the south part of the base might still be alive, where the Kolto is. Few fishies there, but many, many, many fishies in between the water.
Force persuade.
No. Only the
Oh,
ones
dear.
left in the south part of the base might still...
So it looks like I'm going to have to...
No, only... No, only...
I'll just have to leave you in there. So for a moment I read this, I'll have to make you get out of there, and I was concerned I was going to have to punch him. It's because, yeah, no, just to repeat for you, Britt, the act of receiving the Eucharist is sort of the culmination of the sacrament of the Eucharist. It is a meal. It is to be participated in. It is to be received. Yes, it is to be adored, but there is the deepest expression and the deepest experience of God's grace is when we actually receive the Eucharist in a Mass that we attended. Kit, in answer to your question, if you don't have a deacon, what your priest is probably choosing is... So whenever you incense the gifts, usually the deacon will incense the priest and then incense the people. If there isn't a deacon, it can go to a layperson. An acolyte can do it. However, if your church usually has kids, they may not feel comfortable or willing to do that, just for safety reasons. And so that's... But the priest... It should not be the priest. The rubrics say that the priest is not the one who should be incensing the congregation at that point.
What? Simple. Gotcha. Simple. Gotcha. Simple.
Sure.
What?
But yeah, if it's little kids, as you say, you know, thuribles do get very hot and they are dangerous.
Sure.
Sorry about that. Sometimes Moobot gets upset. I'll read it out. That makes sense. I've been curious because I'm physically unable to receive the host, can only receive the precious blood. So if you can receive the precious blood. Oh, but it's not always possible or feasible for that at the parishes I'm at. Oh, I'm sorry. They should bring that back because receiving under both kinds is a great expression and should be used. Anyway. Yeah, so that's a different experience, but still, like, it is, like, even though it is not by your choosing, there is still that barrier, and so ultimately, yeah, there is a greater expression in receiving. So I hope you find a parish that is able to. I actually, during the pandemic, you know, when we weren't distributing the chalice at all, the parish I was at, we had a person who could not receive the host at all, like you, and so we had a chalice for this person at mass, and you know, we'd leave it on the altar, and when they came up, you know, we'd go and get it. But yeah, if you're at a random parish or you're traveling, you can't always plan that ahead of time. So, but I'm glad that your regular parish is able to accommodate that. Yeah, with the Eucharist, Christ is absolutely the priest, the sacrifice, and the place of sacrifice all in one. That's why priests reverence the altar. But we combine our sacrifices with the sacrifice of Christ at the altar. And that's why it's a greater experience of God's grace to receive communion at a mass you participated in than, say, you know, if you're in a hospital and someone brings you communion. So, does going up for a blessing versus saying in the pew make any difference at all? I mean, blessings are always good. Again, to bring in a third grace, there's efficacious grace, and that is a moment of God's grace still, even if it's not sacramental sanctifying grace. So, you know, and also I think logistically it's easier for everyone if everyone gets out of the pew and comes up. So, but we're actually going to call it there. Going to call it a little early today. We have our ordination for two of my brothers coming up this week, which is exciting, but it's kind of a busy week. And I need to get a little bit more work done, so unfortunately I'm going to have to call it early so I can finish up a little video editing for today. But thank you so much to everyone for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. Join us again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be playing some Magic the Gathering, but with a bit of a twist for the month of May. So that'll be our Retro Tuesday, and then we're keeping up with A Chance of Chandelar for now on Spirituality Thursday. So I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and you're most welcome, Britt. I'm glad to be able to answer your questions. Glad to be here for y'all. So thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, all that good jazz. And why don't we see who's live to raid? You know, because we were talking about it earlier, about Ace Attorney, we're raiding Bree, who was playing Ace Attorney. All right. Y'all take care. God bless. Bye.